one thing is constantly looking for change while the other thing is constantly looking for the sameness. The duality of your world, pulling you towards new shiny things while pulling you back towards the things you're used to. Hey guys, my name's Corey. Welcome to AuDHD Act Two, where we talk about things you can do today to better shape tomorrow. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about philosophy. I want to do some philosophizing. So before we jump in, just a little background. I'm in the middle of a divorce, selling a house, moving, all the things, all of the routines. Everything is changing, literally everything, every day. So I am pretty much at max bandwidth every single day. And I'm trying to kind of walk that line and avoid burnout, but also recognize that I've got to keep moving because there's a lot of things I've got to get done. So I am moving slower than I want to with a lot of things. And again, that's just because of bandwidth. So I'm not complaining. I am just saying that I'm looking at the speed things are getting done and I'm frequently disappointed. So that leads us into the topic of the day. Today, I want to talk to you about Festina Lente. That's a Latin phrase that means make haste slowly. So what does Festina Lente mean? So yes, it means make haste slowly, but what is that really? Well, if you Google it, if you look at the internet, if you study philosophy, you're going to kind of get the same answer from most people. I don't necessarily agree with it. So that answer is right along the lines of the story of the tortoise and the hare. So Festina Lente, most people will read that as slow and steady wins the race. It says, be like the tortoise, be slow, but be consistent and be steady. Obviously, there's some value to that advice. Consistency is one of the most important things, that directly correlates to success, especially long-term success, because very, very few things happen erratically without some level of long-term step, one foot in front of the other level of consistency. And so that kind of just crosses over to just about every aspect of your life being more successful. Now that requires some assessment, some intentional living and making some good choices. But in general, just being consistent and working consistently towards your goals is going to lead towards success in some way, shape, or form. Now, on the other side of that coin is the hare. So you've got your tortoise, who's Festina Lente. Your tortoise is slow and steady wins the race. And you've got your hare, who is extremely erratic. And by erratic, I mean the hare is all peaks and valleys. So if your tortoise is just steady and straight, right at like the zero line, your hare is your peak way up here, your valley way down there. It's all over the place, but the hare is all about excitement and speed and learning and exploring and all of these things that are new and novel. So it definitely leans into the ADHD side where for a lot of people, again, none of this applies to everyone. Every neurodivergent person is different. But for a lot of people, the hare is more ADHD, where the tortoise side of things is more autism, is more routine and, just kind of repetitive behavior. So let's get back to Festina Lente. So you've got a tortoise, you've got a hare, but that's not very accurate because no one is a tortoise all the time. No one's a hare all the time. We're all kind of a little bit of both. So let's look at Festina Lente and we'll going back to the Roman time. There's a symbology, kind of iconography. Is that right? An icon of an anchor and a dolphin that's been used to represent Festina Lente. So the anchor is pretty clear. The anchor is like the tortoise. The anchor is your flat line. It's your center. It's your balance. It's the stuff that keeps you level. And then the dolphin is more like the hare. The dolphin is about excitement, about novelty, about learning, intelligence. It's seeking things out. So one thing is constantly looking for change while the other thing is constantly looking for the sameness. For ADHD, people with autism and ADHD, if you're anything like me, this is going to ring home true a lot. This is the duality of your world, pulling you towards new shiny things while pulling you back towards the things you're used to and just constantly dealing with that duality. So when you think about Festina Lente and you think about make haste slowly and making progress and continuous progress, I want you to think less about being a tortoise and less about one foot in front of the other, the same pace at the same speed every single day. That works for neurotypical people, for people who don't have the intense peaks and valleys and some of the other challenges that tend to lead us into more cyclical thought patterns and cyclical behaviors rather than the rigid linear behaviors that you'll see frequently from neurotypical people. So you need to imagine that you're not just the tortoise, you're both. You're not just, the anchor, you're the dolphin as well. And that's how you have to kind of lean into this lesson with Festina Lente, because you don't make progress necessarily by just doing the same thing every single day. That doesn't necessarily get you anywhere. If you're anything at all like me, what you're going to do is have high intensity sprints like your Hare and your dolphin, followed immediately by a mix of low intensity kind of recurring stuff like your tasks that you do every day and intense rest. So those sprints are going to require rest and recovery. There has to be a balance. And that's what that's how I interpret Festina Lente. That's what I see when I see that anchor and that dolphin sign, a symbol. I see something that says I need to remain anchored and I need to get the most out of my stability and my anchoring systems, but I also need to lean into my dolphin and realize that I need to explore. I need to swim freely. I need to find the things that draw me in, the things that feed me energy, the things that will add to my next routine. So that those dolphin behaviors, the things you discover, the things you find out about yourself, they're not all like wild, erratic craziness, that they turn into more tortoise-like, anchor-like activities. They turn into things that you build routines around, that you get better at, that you iterate and improve upon. So that's how you should look at this. That Festina Lente is not about being slow and making slow and steady progress. In my mind, it's more about realizing that progress comes from finding your routines and then making time to go explore all of the connecting things that are outside of those routines, all of the things that interest you that you haven't quite built an anchor around yet. And that's how you get better, and that's how you improve every day. And that is exactly how you will make it to whatever the next step of the next stage evolution of your life will be. Whatever your Act Two is, it's going to require you to assess yourself, you to implement the routines that make your day better. With those assessments, you'll see that it's certain things repeatedly and reliably improve your day. Do those things. It's not rocket scientists. Do those things. And on the flip side of that, certain things that you might not think about as being damaging or harmful, certain things will reliably and repeatedly alter your day negatively. And you need to recognize which is which. You need to find out what things serve you, what things don't, what things energize you and which don't. And just lean into that. It's not as complicated as it sounds. You just have to pay attention. So I'm going to cut it there. If you guys have any questions, please let me know in the comments. Please subscribe and like, share the video, do all of the things, and enjoy your day.